Imagine this. You're at the airport, excited to board your flight to your dream destination. But when you hand over your passport, the airline staff suddenly says, "Sorry, you can't board. Your passport is about to expire, and you don't meet the 6-month rule." You panic. What now? What you'll learn in this video. In this video, we'll clear up all the confusion around passport validity and the 6-month rule. We'll explain exactly what you need to know to avoid surprises at the airport or during visa applications. By the end, you'll know what to check, when, and how to travel smoothly. Main explanation section. What is the 6-month passport rule? The 6-month rule is one of the most common travel requirements. It means many countries require you to have at least 6 months of validity remaining on your passport from the date you plan to enter the country. This rule applies to almost all travelers, and failure to meet it can result in being denied entry or not being allowed to board your flight. So what does it really mean? Let's break it down. Basic requirement. Your passport must be valid for at least 6 months after your planned arrival date. Why the rule exists? It's a safeguard to make sure travelers don't get stuck in a country with an expired passport. It also gives governments time to manage any issues related to your departure or emergency situations. Who does the 6-month rule apply to? The rule applies to almost every traveler planning to enter a foreign country, whether for tourism, business, or any other purpose. This includes tourists, people visiting for leisure or sightseeing, business travelers, those traveling for work-related activities, students, those entering a country for educational purposes, other types of travelers, those seeking medical treatment, attending family events, or on short-term assignments. Who is exempt from the 6-month rule? While the rule is widespread, there are some exceptions. Some countries allow citizens of certain countries to travel with less than 6 months of passport validity. But these exemptions vary widely from one country to another. Here are some situations where you might be exempt. Regional agreements. Countries in the Schengen area, which includes several European countries, sometimes allow citizens of other Schengen states to travel with passports that are valid for just a few weeks beyond their arrival date. Bilateral agreements. Certain countries have special agreements with others, making the 6-month rule less strict. Short stay or transit. Some countries might allow you to enter if you're only staying for a short duration, or if you have a connecting flight to another country. Common misunderstandings about the 6-month rule. Misunderstanding number 1. I only need to check my passport's expiration date. You need to check the actual validity period of your passport, not just its expiration date. If you're traveling to a country with the 6-month rule, your passport should be valid for 6 months beyond your intended arrival date. Misunderstanding number 2. The 6-month rule is the same everywhere. Not true. Different countries have different rules. Some may only require a few weeks of validity, while others strictly enforce the 6-month rule. Misunderstanding number 3. If I'm only passing through the country, I don't need to worry about passport validity. Wrong. Many countries enforce the rule even for transit passengers. If you're changing flights in a country, you might still be denied entry or boarding unless your passport meets the 6-month requirement. Misunderstanding number 4. If I have a valid visa, I don't need to worry about passport validity. A valid visa doesn't automatically bypass the passport validity requirement. Even with a visa, your passport needs to meet the country's entry conditions, including the 6-month rule. Real-life example of the 6-month rule in action. Imagine you're planning a trip to Thailand. Your passport expires in 4 months, but you're all set for your trip. However, when you arrive at the airport, the airline staff tells you that your passport doesn't meet the requirement. Thailand requires that your passport be valid for at least 6 months from the day you enter. You're now stuck and might not be able to board the flight, if only you checked your passport's validity. What to do to avoid problems? Now that we understand the rules, let's go over how to avoid this nightmare scenario. Step-by-step guide, what you need to do. Here's your checklist to ensure you don't face any surprises. Step 1. Check your passport's expiration date. Look at the expiration date and make sure it's valid for at least 6 months after your intended arrival date. Step 2. Check entry requirements for your destination. Verify if the 6-month rule applies to your destination. Check the official embassy or government website of the country you're visiting. Step 3. Renew your passport if necessary. If your passport is about to expire, make sure to renew it well in advance. Passport renewal can take several weeks, so don't wait until the last minute. Step 4. Verify for special exemptions. Some countries have exceptions for specific travelers. If you're traveling to countries that might have exemptions, such as the EU, check if you meet the requirements. Step 5. If in doubt, renew early. If you're unsure, it's always safer to renew your passport. A new passport will save you from unnecessary stress and complications. Common mistakes. Section: Here are some of the most common mistakes travelers make when dealing with the 6-month passport rule. Mistake number 1. Not checking passport validity. Early enough, many travelers leave it until the last minute to check passport validity. You could be ready to board your flight, only to find your passport doesn't meet the requirement. Avoid this by checking months ahead. Mistake number 2. Assuming all countries have the same rules. The 6-month rule is not universal. Some countries have stricter or more lenient policies, and it's your responsibility to verify the specific rules of your destination. Mistake number 3. Not considering transit stops. Even if you're only transiting through a country, the 6-month rule may apply. Don't forget to check the entry requirements for all countries where you'll stop, not just your final destination. Mistake number 4. Ignoring visa conditions. Having a visa doesn't exempt you from the passport validity rule. You still need to make sure your passport meets the requirements of your destination country. Mistake number 5. Overlooking special cases like dual nationality. If you hold dual nationality, the passport requirements may differ depending on which passport you use to enter a country. Always check both passports for validity. Special Situations section. Let's address some special situations where the 6-month rule might be a bit tricky, connecting flights and transit passengers. Even if you're not leaving the airport, some countries require that your passport meets the 6-month validity rule if you're passing through. Always check the specific airport's rules and the countries involved in your flight route. Dual nationality and passport use. If you hold 2 passports from different countries, the validity rules may vary based on which passport you're traveling with. For example, one passport might meet the 6-month rule while the other doesn't. Make sure you're using the passport that fulfills the entry requirements of your destination. Expired passport or lost passport. If your passport is expired, you need to renew it before traveling. If you lose your passport shortly before a trip, it's critical to apply for a new one quickly. Emergency passport services are available, but they often take time, so don't wait. Step-by-step action plan. Here's your action plan to ensure smooth travel. What to check? Passport expiration date. Country entry requirements. Visa requirements, if applicable. Transit country rules. When to check? At least 3 months before your trip, to ensure enough time for passport renewal and visa processing. 2 weeks before your trip, to double-check everything. Where to verify? Official embassy or government websites. Airline websites, visa application centers. How early to prepare? Begin at least 6 months before your trip. That's the ideal time to renew your passport or apply for a visa if needed. Final warning/important reminder. Double-check all entry requirements well in advance. Passport validity rules can vary, and if you're not prepared, you could face unexpected disruptions. Make sure to verify requirements with the official authorities, such as embassies and airline representatives, rather than relying on unofficial sources. 8. Strong closing. Now that you know exactly what to do, you can travel with confidence, avoiding passport-related travel problems. Remember, preparation is key. Stay on top of your passport validity, check requirements early, and ensure you're fully prepared. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with fellow travelers. Safe travels!